Good morning, everybody. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and today we're going to talk about Brittney Griner. In case you don't know, Brittney Griner was just released from a Russian prison in exchange for a guy named Viktor Bout, aka the Merchant of Death, or the Lord of War. I'm going to read the bio of Viktor Bout, talk a little bit about his past, and also just kind of give you the nuances of this Brittney Griner release. So get comfortable and buckle up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. I don't apologize about this platform being for intelligent Black people because I really want us to think. I really think that we need to take a moment and really process everything. And you can't just believe everything you read one way or the other, and everything is not always black and white. There's some things that have a shade of gray. And today's topic has a big shade of gray. It's the release of Brittney Griner. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you saw that Brittney Griner is finally home. She was brought back from a Russian prison, and they exchanged her. They did an exchange for an arms dealer named Viktor Bout. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And my goal is to really give us something to think about and to take it to a level where the opinions of intelligent Black people are put at the top of the pile. Because as you know, here we're Black first, and I don't apologize for that. And in fact, I would trade Viktor Bout for any of y'all. If any of y'all were ever caught in a Russian prison for having a little weed on you, just so you know, if the president ever came to me and said, should we trade an international arms dealer for Jimmy P or for Ronaldo Maiden or for Lynn Minor or for Brian Bridges? I'd be like, absolutely, absolutely. So I love y'all, and I understand. I appreciate your support, and also I appreciate those who are happy that Brittney Griner is coming home, because I don't think Brittney should have been locked up in the first place. This was clearly political. It was clearly a setup. And but then again, you know, at the same time, I've always talked to you guys about being smart, about not letting them set you up. You know, I think it's okay to say, hey, what were you doing? If Brittney were my daughter, I'd say, hey, you know, you're traveling to Russia during a war. Maybe you gotta slow your roll a little bit. Maybe you ain't gotta pack all the weed in your stash box or in your suitcase. Maybe you should leave some of the weed at home, or the vapes or the pipes or whatever you need to smoke. I don't really smoke like that. No disrespect to those who do. That's just not my thing. You know, but you know, maybe you should be a little smarter. But anyway, that's not really a popular opinion. People don't really believe in accountability. They kind of think that makes you a Trump supporter or something. And I just, you know, I just kind of laugh that off. That's why I wear shirts like this. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I'm just Black, and I'm Black every single day of the week and twice on Sundays. So do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button if you could. Let's get that algorithm popping. If you could hit that thumbs up button. Also, please shout out the city you're from. Let me know what city you're from, and make sure you subscribe. If you're watching, please subscribe to this channel. I don't think there's a channel anywhere on the internet like this one where a Black finance professor is giving you all the truth and unapologetically. So if you appreciate that, I hope you'll hit the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you hit the notification bell. That's extremely important, so you'll be notified. If you don't hit the notification bell, they're gonna hide me from you. You'll never see me again. I won't pop in your news feed because they tend to shadow ban stuff like that. So if you could do that, I'd appreciate it. Also, this podcast is on, if you look up the Dr. Boyce Breakdown on Spotify or Apple, you'll find the podcast there if you want to listen. Okay, so here we go. All right, so basically, Brittney Griner, everybody knows the big story that Brittney Griner was released from Russian prison this morning. I woke up this morning and I rolled over and looked at my wife and I said, hey, they let Brittney Griner out. And a lot of you found out this morning. I guess they did it last night. And I'll just start by saying that, you know, I don't think she should have been locked up. Like, give me a yes. Let's start there. Let's start our conversation from the foundation. How many of you feel that Brittney Griner shouldn't have been locked up in the first place? Give me a yes if you think that she should be sent home, and if that all makes sense, especially since she's been through a lot. I can't imagine being in a Russian prison. That's just not cool. Give me a yes in the chat if you agree that Brittney Griner should be home. If you say no, then I understand that too. But I want to make sure we start with empathy. I don't like anybody going to prison. Prison is cruel and unusual punishment. It's very traumatizing. I have a lot of people in my family that went to prison. I know I got friends that went to jail. I got friends that are just getting out of jail after 20, 30 years. And it's very, very sad because they didn't deserve that level of punishment. So I think that we need to rethink the whole, incarceration punishment mindset anyway. I think sometimes you have people that just have a mental illness or maybe they got a little high and drunk and did something stupid when they were 18 years old. But I've seen people like that. In fact, I know guys in jail right now who did something stupid when they were high or drunk at 18, and they're still locked up. Like, they're still locked up forever. They got life with no parole. That means that even when you die, they're going to lock up your damn casket. Your casket going to be in the penitentiary. Just in case they find a way to bring you back to life, they're going to make sure you do your 785 years. And that's just terrible. It's sad, depressing. I can't imagine being away from your family, being forgotten by the world. Prison is a terrible place, man. And I hope we can gain empathy for all the people that are locked up now. And again, this is my next point. We are so empathetic to what Brittney Griner is going through. The media trains you on empathy. The media controls what you're focused on. The media gets you caught up in a story. That's why journalists tell a story. Joseph Stalin had an old saying where he said that one death is a tragedy. 1 million deaths, that's just a statistic. 1 million deaths is just a statistic. So who cares about 1 million people? It's a number on a piece of paper. But one story where they tell you how they grew up and what they're going through and introduce you to their mama and let you see their crying girlfriend, that becomes like, a tearjerker. Like, oh my God, how can they do this? And so with Brittney, she got a lot of empathy, which she certainly deserves. But Brittney does not deserve more empathy. Give me a yes if you can agree with this. I hope we can agree on this point, because I'm not here trying to disagree with the decision to let her out. I already told you I think she should get out. But think about this. Where's the empathy for all the thousands and 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 thousands of Black people that right now are rotting in a prison, nasty ass food, unhealthy conditions, getting beaten up by prison guards, getting raped by prison inmates, abandoned by their family. You had to be locked up while their mother was dying, then their father died, and then their sibling died. Can't even get out half the time. They maybe even go to the funeral. Seriously, where's the empathy for that? Can we have some empathy for that too? Really. So I think what Brittney is going through, what she went through, was terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But also, she made that choice to put that shit in her luggage. And I don't understand why on earth you would go to a country in the middle of war, an enemy of the United States in the middle of war, and do something that violates their laws. I wouldn't even go to the country just in case they decide to put some shit in my trunk or decide to pin something on me or decide to tell a lie on me. I wouldn't even want to give you the opportunity to even decide if you think I was guilty or innocent. I wouldn't be there. So I'm like, where's the critical thinking skill in all this? I don't know. I'd love to ask that. What were you thinking? Why would you go? Like, if you're a Crip, why would you go to blood territory in the middle of a gang war? Like, that don't make no sense. And you walking through blood territory wearing all blue, that's probably not going to end well for you. So that's what I see when I see this, is that, Russia is in the middle of a massive war that could turn nuclear. This could become a nuclear war. Vladimir Putin has talked about the use of nuclear weapons. This ain't no game, man. And here's the other part of it. I need y'all to really process this for a minute. Intelligent Black people will understand this. You're releasing one of the most notorious arms dealers on earth in the middle of what could become a Russian nuclear war. Has anybody looked up Viktor Bout? Has anybody done the research? Viktor Bout is not Pookie the gun dealer. Viktor Bout is not, JJ the shoplifter. Viktor Bout is known as the Lord of War. They made a whole movie about this dude. Did y'all know that? How many of y'all knew that there's a movie called Lord of War about Viktor Bout. I'm gonna pull some images up so y'all can just see this. Nicolas Cage starred in the movie. This was a good movie. I watched this movie years ago. It was a good movie. They literally made a whole blockbuster $100 million movie about this guy with an A-list actor. He ain't no small potato. This is the film right here, Lord of War. And you see in the background of this image, if you're on Instagram, you can't see it. You can't see this on Instagram, but I'm going to describe it for you so you can, it'll be just like you're there. If you want to go to drboycetv.com, you can see it there, but I can just tell you what's on the screen. So there's this image of Nicolas Cage standing in the middle of war-torn Africa where millions of people have died from civil conflicts that are being supplied by European arms dealers. Well, they'll go to one side, sell them a bunch of weapons, and then go to the other side and sell them a bunch of weapons. And let me just tell you, this ain't a game. They're not selling them, starter pistols. They're not selling, slingshots and bow and arrows. They're selling surface-to-air missiles. They're selling the kinds of stuff that could go in and kill a whole family in a second. And millions of people in Africa are dying because of this. Viktor Bout sold most of his weapons in Africa. So every time you hear about Africans killing African people, people like him are behind it. Where the hell else do you think that an African warlord in the Congo can get access to 10,000 AK-47s? Russian-made AK-47s. Well, they got him from Russia. They get him from Viktor Bout. Viktor Bout, he was that dude. He was the freeway Ricky Ross of African Civil War conflicts. And he was serving everybody. He didn't care who won the war as long as people kept dying, as long as black people kept getting killed. Viktor Bout was serving everybody. So here's the deal. Bout went to prison in 2008. 2008. How many of y'all remember 2008? Was anybody already a grown-up? How many of you were already a grown-up in the year 2008? Give me a yes in the chat if you're OG status and you were like a functioning adult not living with your parents in 2008. Raise your hand. Give me a yes. If y'all remember 2008, that was the year Obama got elected. How many of you are old enough to remember 2008? Yeah, so 2008 was not that long ago. I'm making a point, I promise you. What is the point you're making, boys? Okay, let me explain. Viktor Bout is not some old man where his best days are behind him. Viktor Bout is not, it's not like he's like, like, don't get me wrong, like there's some people, they did terrible things in the 1960s. I'm like, let him out, man. Let him out. It's 60 years later. He's 85 years old. He ain't gonna hurt nobody. Save some money. Send him home. Let his family take care of him. Right? There's people in that category. Viktor Bout is a guy who's still young enough to go and supply weapons. And African conflicts are at an all-time high. Actually, I think sorry, not at all. Recently, in 2019, they said there was a record number of civil wars going on in Africa. So you're talking about serving them things and serving them weapons. Oh, he's got a ready-made marketplace already. So he's still pretty much in his prime. He's not some old man who isn't going to hurt anybody. You released one of the most notorious warlords, for lack of a better term, are arms dealers. You released one of the most notorious arms dealers in the world right in the middle of a war that could turn nuclear any second. And when it turns nuclear, just so you know, and I don't want to scare nobody, but Russia, I read a report that said Russia has invented hypersonic nuclear missiles. Hypersonic nuclear missiles that are so fast that we can't detect them until they hit the target. So that means any day, Chicago could be gone. New York, gone. They can't track these hypersonic missiles. They're trying to figure that out. I'm not trying to scare nobody. I'm just trying to get you ready. Because, at any moment in my mind, I'm thinking at any moment we could be off the grid. That means y'all never see me again because the internet's gone. That means that it's down to food and water and basic supplies. It means, one day I read, and I'm not gonna talk too long about this because it really depresses me, to be honest with you. But I read how people that survived Hiroshima, what their day was like that day, and it was a regular day. They got up to go to school, sent the kids off, to school, and the parents went off to work. a regular day. And then next thing you know, the day was no longer regular and their lives would change forever. This little girl said I was 6 and I was going to school. The bomb hit. She said I woke up and I was 100 miles from my house and my parents were all gone. My parents, my siblings were all dead. I never saw them again. And so what I'm saying is that war is serious, man. I know everybody gets caught up in all the drama that's happening on the internet and which rapper is, has the most babies, mamas, and all this other who's dropping the hottest album next week. But it could get real at any moment. So these are the things that go through my mind. I can't apologize for it. It's just life. By the way, do me a favor, guys. Hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Some of you are asking about this shirt. It says, I'm not Democrat, Republican, I'm black. You can actually go to wokeblacktees.com if you'd like to get a shirt like this, if you want one. I'll put the URL on the screen, wokeblacktees.com. So I have a bunch of smarter looking t-shirts that I wear. I don't mind pissing people off. Like y'all see somebody in the chat says, stop fear mongering. Well, you stop being an idiot and stop being stupid. And then we'll make it agree. We'll do a trade. We'll do a Brittney Griner trade. I'll stop fear mongering if you stop being stupid. How about that? But I know you're not capable of stopping being stupid. So I'm not going to stop saying what I got to say. All right. So hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. What's up, Deshaun Farad? I see you in there, brother. Good to see you today. You're listening to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. Don't forget this podcast is on Spotify. It is on Apple. Feel free to subscribe. Just go in and look for the Dr. Boyce breakdown. I'm usually on here every single day. And we talk about a lot of stuff. Black economics is the core, but also black culture, black people is really the outer core of everything that we do. And we don't apologize to nobody. Van Jones is apologizing to Jewish people for some strange reason. I guess they just made him apologize so he can get more money or something. We don't apologize. I will apologize to you. You are the only people I would ever apologize to. I don't apologize to people outside of my community because y'all need to apologize to us first. And that's the position that I have. All right. So here's a couple other thoughts about the release of Brittney Griner in this whole situation with Viktor Bout. I did a survey. I did a poll. I like to get data to just kind of see how intelligent black people feel. Your opinions matter more than everyone else's in America, in my opinion. So what I did was I did a poll and I just asked the basic question. I said, was Brittney Griner, I said, WNBA star Brittney Griner was released from Russian prison in exchange for Viktor Bout, an international arms dealer known as the Merchant of Death, who sold arms to supply African conflicts. Was this a fair trade? 75% of you said no. 25% of you said yes. And so, I think one other point that isn't really being made as much is given how difficult it was to get Brittney Griner out of prison on her drug charge in Russia, it's incredibly easy for Joe Biden to release many of the people that are locked up on drug charges right here in the United States. There are still thousands of people that are locked up on basic cannabis charges. Cannabis is now legal. White men are making billions of dollars selling cannabis now. Why should anybody be locked up for cannabis? Joe Biden has the key to that building. Joe Biden built those prisons. This is why, when people ask me, well, why won't you support Biden? Why can't you let bygones be bygones? Why can't you forgive and forget? It's because I believe that black people, we are seen as very weak because we will forgive anything. Somebody could run up on your front porch and kill your whole family. And then next thing you know, you in church forgiving them 3 days later. I don't rock like that. I don't go to church. I'm sorry. So call me a heathen, call me the devil, but I'm not forgiving you for nothing. At the very least, in order for me to even give you a semblance of forgiveness, you have to start by repairing the damage that was done. You have to start by compensating, reparating the situation. You have to fix it. Joe Biden ain't fixed nothing. Joe Biden, 30 years ago, was the number one advocate to give people 30, 40, 50, 100 years in prison for 25 to life. That's what they call it. 3 strikes, you're out. Anybody remember that? Anybody remember 3 strikes, you're out? He says, just like baseball. Life ain't no goddamn baseball. Stop that. Just like baseball, 3 strikes, you're out. Okay, well, let's do that to Hunter. Let's do that to Hunter Biden, your son who smoked up all the crack. Like I wouldn't, if I was a crackhead, I wouldn't even want to go to a crack party with Hunter Biden because he'd be the one that smokes up all the crack. So your son is the biggest crackhead known to man. Your son puts Felicia from the movie Friday to shame. So under your rules and your laws, your son Hunter should have got 25 to life. But when the chickens come home to roost and you realize that drugs are an addiction that requires treatment, not incarceration, then suddenly you've got empathy for what people go through when they're dealing with drug addictions. Lots of people had drug addictions. Both of my fathers had drug addictions. Literally, my biological father had a drug addiction. That's why I never knew the man. And my father that raised me had a heroin addiction when he came back from Vietnam, and he kicked it because he's a strong ass black man who made a choice in his life. And that's where I get my belief in personal responsibility. When I asked my daddy, I said, how the hell did you get off heroin? Heroin is tough, right? He said, I made a choice. He said, I knew I didn't want to live that life. I didn't want to be a junkie. Right. So he was strong enough to overcome that. Some people need some help, and I get that. So rather than giving help, rather than having empathy for what people are going through, they just said, let's lock them all up. And the reason that Biden was able to push that message through Congress with his buddy Strom Thurmond was one of the most notorious racists in all of Congress. He openly hated black people. And with partnering with his mentor, Strom Thurmond, Joe Biden pushed through some of the most draconian drug laws known to man. And as a result, a lot of you have relatives that went to prison in the 80s and in the 90s and beyond. Right. And this is something that really bothers me. When I see every time there's an election and somebody asks me to vote for the Democrats, I just get mad. I just get so mad because I'm like, I can't vote for someone who wanted me locked up. I kind of came of age in the 90s. I remember having a recurring nightmare that I would be in the wrong car with the wrong person, or that I would make a phone call to somebody that they somehow got me caught in a RICO charge, and next thing you know, I got locked up. Do you understand that there were black people who literally just made a phone call and then went to prison for 25 years for making a phone call and didn't even know what the phone call was all about? Like, this is some real stuff, man. Y'all got to wake up and smell the coffee. This is real stuff. So my position on this is Biden ain't no hero for none of this. Come on, man. She's a basketball player. Brittney Griner is, I'm a sports fan. Brittney Griner is a great basketball player, by the way. One of the best I've ever seen. I mean, she really is. Like, she really does have that men among boys kind of presence. That girl, I've been watching her since she was at Baylor. She's a big old, I mean, that lady, woo, Lord Jesus. But I don't know if a basketball player is the same as an international arms dealer who has been responsible for the deaths of millions of Africans. I also don't know if Brittney Griner's release should allow us to let anybody off the hook for the thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of black people in America and some non-black people that are still locked up right now. And if you think that makes me a hater, then fine, I'm gonna just hate all day. I hate you because you are a racist. If you can't even understand where I am coming from with this, you've never had a relative get taken away to jail. I've had that. I've had many relatives taken away from jail. I've had my mentor, my uncle was like my older brother. I remember when they took him to jail. I remember crying in the backseat of the car and going through. My trauma came from the fact that I remember crying when my uncle got locked up and nobody cared. Nobody cared. My wife, who's a therapist, explained to me what trauma does and on the body and how it stays with you for life. And she basically says that trauma in general is when you go through something terrible and you're not able to talk to anybody about it and not able to deal with it and process it. I was 11. I couldn't process it. I didn't have anybody to talk to because nobody cared how I felt. And I cried in the backseat of that car when I found out my uncle got locked up because I loved him. He was my number one human being on the planet, my favorite person on earth. And then I saw what he was like when he got out of jail. He was broken. Something terrible happened to him. He was probably beaten and raped and everything else while he was locked up. That was his trauma. So he comes out of prison. He's totally messed up in the head. And I sat there and watched this man decay for decades. I watched him just fall apart. I watched him trying to survive and cope in any way that he could. And if you don't understand that, then you can kiss my whole entire black ass because you ain't never really been through nothing. You don't understand. So when Biden and his flunkies and his Negro minions show up and say, well, some people change. We got to learn to forgive. Do you understand? I'm going to tell y'all the truth. I literally want to pull my knee back and kick you straight in your face because I cannot imagine how you can let black people go through something that terrible and then act like it didn't happen. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to kick nobody in the face. I'm going to hold on to my right to believe that you have a right to vote for whoever you want to vote for. I'll never vote or shame you. I'm not like the Democrats. I'm not going to shame you because of who you voted for. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. But where I stand, you bet not ask me to go vote for somebody who won't even apologize for what they did. And then you got all these black men on TV apologizing for everything. Why are you apologizing all the time? Grow some damn testicles. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. So anyway, y'all see me. Y'all are watching a triggered, angry black man right now. I hope that's okay. I'm just being honest with y'all. But I gotta let it out. That was me being triggered, and that's why I believe in therapy. And I'm also going to be open and say that I love talking to my therapist because it helps you figure things out. It helps you find a healthy way to deal with the emotions that you're feeling. And I just made a decision that, on the podcast, I'm going to be honest because I know I'm not alone. I know a lot of us go through this. And the thing is that your pain does matter. What you went through matters. What your loved one in prison, when everybody done forgot about him, ain't nobody thinking about him, his feelings are hurt. He's sad. He's hurting right now. And I really wish we can have the same empathy for him as we have for Brittney Griner in a Russian prison. I'm glad Brittney is out, but I want to see 10,000 people get released. Biden could do that tomorrow. The reason he doesn't do it tomorrow is because you'll vote for him no matter what. He could literally give him an extra 50 years in prison, and you'll still find some excuse to support people who don't support you. I will not do that. I'll never vote Republican. I'm not interested in doing that, but I'm not voting for the Democrats either. Anyway, let me keep going, guys. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Also, just a reminder, my website is boycewatkins.com. And in the Black Business School, we're in the Black Institution building. We've actually built our own HBCU. We ain't waiting for the government. And the Black Business School, we have over 152,000 students worldwide. I left my job as a finance professor at Syracuse University to build this institution. We're very proud of it. And on Friday, we are doing a free event. A lot of our stuff is free, so it's not like college. We're not going to put you in debt, but a lot of our stuff is free. And one free event we're having on Friday is a multifamily in a real estate investing event with Julian Gordon, who's really good. He controls millions of dollars in property. If you'd like to join us for the Friday event at 8 p.m., go to boycewatkins.com. The link should be right there. And also, we have the first ever Black financial therapy department. So just like I was showing you guys by being honest and letting you know, about my triggers, I think a lot of us need therapy because a lot of us have been traumatized, and a lot of that trauma, financial trauma in particular, can cause some bad financial choices. The inability to invest and build wealth, the inability to work together with others to build your company, the inability to save properly or to think carefully about your spending, not get into addictive spending or spending habits that cause you to lose everything because you're literally trying to buy your validation. We talk about all these things in our Black financial therapy department because my wife is a licensed therapist. She's really good at what she does. So if you go to boycewatkins.com, you can take a look at some of the stuff we have going on. We have really good stuff in the Black Business School. We're better than any institution on the planet as it pertains to Black wealth. That's what we focus on. We don't think about anything else. All right, so let me answer a couple more questions or talk on a couple more topics. So Brittney Griner, this is what we're talking about. Brittney Griner just got out of jail in exchange for Viktor Bout. Viktor Bout, aka the Lord of War, right? So this is big. This is the Nicolas Cage movie where Viktor Bout is being portrayed as the most notorious arms dealer in the history of all mankind. Oh, by the way, how can you attend? Yeah, you can attend. You can actually go, if you're on Instagram, just hit the link in the bio or go to boycewatkins.com and you can attend the event on Friday. The other thing is Viktor Bout was selling. I was reading about some of the weapons he was selling. This is images of him in Africa. Now, if you watch the movie Lord of War, which is a kind of Viktor Bout story, you'll notice in this movie he spends most of his time in Africa. From what I recall, I remember seeing this white guy, Nicolas Cage, talking to lots and lots of Black people on a regular basis, and so he ends up eventually getting arrested after selling like an ungodly number of weapons to African countries. So this is the guy, in case you're wondering who Brittney Griner got exchanged for. It's Viktor Bout, aka the Merchant of Death or the Lord of War. Is that a fair trade? I'm going to go ahead and say it's probably not. I mean, you know, they get their number one arms dealer back so they can sell more weapons around the world and make money by facilitating African conflicts. And we got a basketball player, so we get more basketball, and they got actual weapons and stuff. But then that's the silliness of American politics, and it is what it is right now. So anyway, guys, it was great speaking with you. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'm going to check back in a little bit later and do some financial conversations. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Hit the notification bell if you haven't done it yet. That way you'll be notified when we go live. My Instagram is @TheRealBoyceWatkins. And if you want to learn about any of these events coming up, you can go to boycewatkins.com. Some of you are asking about my shirt. If you want to get a shirt like this, you can actually go to wokeblacktees.com. There's the URL right there, wokeblacktees.com. And also, if you want to join us for our free real estate event on Friday, just go to boycewatkins.com. I will see you guys soon. Have a good day. God bless you. Thank you for listening. I love you, and I'll see you later. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, 10, 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV.